Good morning, Europeans. I can see that everybody's coming from every corner of the European Union. This is the last live stream of the week, of the day. Sorry, of the week. It does feel like a week after a day of doing this one after the other. And after this session, Kun and I will take a much-deserved break before moving into one of the booths to continue hundreds of conversations. It's wonderful to see you here. Or can you hear me? Is the sound coming okay?
Yes, we can hear you very well, Fernando.
And the audience, yes, that's it. Perfect. That's what I want to see. I want to see you typing. I want to see questions on the chat. When you have a question for one of the attendees, put the @ and put the first name of the person. If it's a general question, do so in general terms. If we don't reply to them, don't be offended. We just don't care. Of course not. We don't see it. There is almost, how many people do we have today now? There's already 430 of you, and the session has just begun. Average attendance is 500 to these live streams. You have to understand that if you start posting, we missed the question. Repost it again. If you still don't get an answer, go back to the coffee corners. The event is heavily subscribed. There will be queues in the chat booths. So we recommend that you go directly to the coffee corners and queue there as well. You not being able to enter does not mean that you can't enter. It means that you are in a waiting queue. So that's it. That's my bit of information. My name is Fernando. I'm operating from Brussels today, and I'm helping my colleagues connect with you and sell their organizations so that I see at the end of the chat session here, I want to see how many of you will be applying to their vacancies. So without further ado, this ends my bit now. Over to you, Kun.
Very well. Thanks a lot, Fernando, for this introduction, and welcome also from my end, all of you here in this last live stream session of the day. My name is Koen Hendricks, and I work for EPSO. You might have heard of EPSO, the European Personnel Selection Office. As you know, we offer selection procedures to come and work for all different institutions and bodies, such as the agencies as well present here today in this live stream. Apart from the jobs that these three agencies offer themselves directly, like namely temporary agent positions are offered directly by the recruiting body. We, EPSO, we also offer permanent positions and contractual positions. For permanent positions, you need to be successful in the so-called competition. You may have heard the term. And actually, you might want to know that after the summer, we will publish a competition for young graduates. So if you have a university bachelor's degree in any field, you are eligible to take part in this competition, right? So, of course, if you have work experience on top, if you have a master, you definitely, of course, meet the minimum criteria, which is just this university bachelor. Sign up for this competition. We publish it in September or October. It's called the AD5 Generalist Competition. You may have heard of the term. And that's one of the ways into the EU environment in a way. Apart from permanent positions, we also offer contractual positions through what we call the CAST system. CAST stands for Contract Agent Selection Tool. And you'll find a list of about 20 different profiles on the EPSO website, which are constantly on offer. So you can register for one or more of these profiles. You'll find many in the field of IT security, cybersecurity, project management also. So you can really pick out what seems to fit your profile, register, and in this way, try and find a job in the agencies who work a lot with these contractual positions. If you want to keep or stay updated on opportunities that we offer, please follow EU Careers. You see it here in my name. Follow EU Careers on the social media, either LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can also sign up for a notification on our website. If you go to the EU Careers website, sign up for the upcoming opportunities, and you will be notified on any new job opportunity that we have available for you guys. All right, so I leave you now in the capable hands of my three colleagues of the agencies with the nicest names, actually, in the agency environment, you know, ENISA, and then EUSPA, EUSPA, very nice names, and they will explain themselves what they stand for and which profiles they offer. All right, enjoy this live stream, and later on go back to the booths where you can chat with the staff of the different agencies. Have fun. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Kun. Right, I cannot put it myself any better. These careers are out of this world, these three agencies. Of course, it had to ring at some stage during the day. The careers that our three representatives are going to speak to you about the many aspects and the many horizons they can open to you. Answering one question, this session is being recorded. We are, as of the moment of doing this live stream, we're not sure whether we're going to be sharing the recording, but we will be preparing short takeaway notes. If you are here today, you will get them. So stay connected, follow our Global Careers group on LinkedIn. We will be posting updates as soon as we know. So without further ado, this ends my part. Let's start allowing them to introduce themselves, the organization they work, and why they're here. Who wants to go first? I want to raise hand.
I can go first.
Ricardo, Martina, Andrea. There we are.
Very good. So nice to meet you all. It's very nice to be here with so many people, with my colleagues actually from other EU agencies. My name is Riccardo Bonini. I'm Italian. I think you can hear it from my quite strong accent, I would say. I work in EULISA. I'm here representing in EULISA in this event. I've been working in different EU institutions, EU agencies in the last 9 years, more or less. So I quite a broad experience in different environments. Here I'm on behalf of EULISA, where I've been working for the last 2.5 years, more or less. What is EULISA? What does EULISA stand for? We not only have one of the most beautiful names, as we have just heard, among the different EU agencies, but probably EULISA has also the longest name. EULISA stands for the European Union Agency for the operational management of large-scale IT systems in the area of freedom, security, and justice. Quite a long name, quite complex name. What does it mean? What do we do? We are basically responsible for the operational management and for the development of IT systems in the area of security, border management, passport control, and so on. We have quite a direct impact, I would say, on the life, and not only of European citizens, but also of worldwide citizens when they are traveling through Europe. We manage and we develop all the system that allows free movement, let's say, throughout Europe, and that allow people from abroad, from outside Europe, to come and visit our countries. EULISA has also the peculiarity, I would say, that not only has the longest name, but we are also spread in different locations across Europe. We have our headquarters in the beautiful Tallinn, where I'm currently located. The summer has not arrived yet here, I have to say. It's still a bit cloudy and fresh, but it's very, very nice. Our operational site is in Strasbourg. We have a liaison office in Belgium, where we have the possibility indeed of staying connected with the rest of Europe. We are Brussels in the heart of the European Union, and we have a backup site in Austria, where we do not have actually permanent staff, permanent representation, but we have colleagues going there on a regular basis to ensure business continuity in case of updates or in case of emergency situations. We are an agency that have been alive for the last 13 years, more or less. We have been established in December 2012. And as of today, we count more or less 400 staff working for us, plus quite a huge number of contractors, I would say.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. I'm going to ask Martina to follow, and then Andrea, and then every cycle of questions will follow the same pattern.
So good afternoon from me as well. I'm Martina Mondrašková, head of HR, and here I'm not able indeed to beat Ricardo. The name of my agency, EUSPA, is not so long, so we are an EU agency for the space program. But on the other hand, I am here, well, I am based in Prague. We have summer has arrived, so there is a certain benefit. But what EUSPA does, or what EUSPA does not do, we are not sending astronauts to space. We are not exploring the space, and it is also our motto, we are linking space to user needs. So just to give you some specific examples, we are managing Galileo program, where we do provide precise navigation ranging from everything from emergency to autonomous vehicles. You have probably heard about Copernicus, which is at the heart of the Europe's climate strategy, and which is a key tool in anticipating and reacting to crises and natural disasters. Maybe in the news you have heard recently about IRIS², which is, and I will say the name, which is Infrastructure for Resilience, Interconnectivity and Security by Satellites. And the IRIS² is meant to deliver sovereign secure communications for both public and defense use. Maybe also recently I've heard in the news about the so-called SST, Space Tracking and Surveillance, where this program or our colleagues are helping to contribute to keep Europe's orbit free, clear of collisions. And when in the orbits, it's, as you probably know, more crowded. So here we help. About EUSPA as an agency, we are also multi-site. We do have currently locations in 5 member states. I have already mentioned that I am based in Prague, where we have a headquarters in Czech Republic. We have 2 offices, 2 sites in France, one in Toulouse, one close to Paris in Saint-Germain-en-Laye. We have 2 offices close to Madrid in Spain, one in San Martín de la Vega, another one in Torrejón. We have 1 office in the Netherlands, in Norway, and also we have colleagues in Brussels. Something about me, I have mentioned already, I'm head of HR. I did start in a different agency. I started in the GSA, which is the predecessor of EUSPA. And I started already in 2013. So what I could have experienced is really the evolution of the agency that I'm currently now. It has really changed from a small agency to today's size, today's scope. Today, we are more than 300 colleagues. We are having more and more programs to take care, to contribute to Europe, etc. So this is also my key motto for today, for the presentation today, that our agency is very dynamic. And if you join us, you will see it, you will observe it yourself, you will experience, and you will also contribute to our success.
Thank you, Martina. I see that people are following my lead of technical puns being posted here. So I'm going to see if we can pick up the best pun. Don't focus on the chat, focus on what we're telling you. But the occasional pun about low orbit flying does hit the record. Andrea, over to you.
Thank you, Fernando. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea. I work for ENISA as a HR officer. I joined a year and a half ago, mainly in, let's say, performance management, but recently in recruitment. I'm sure you all know about ENISA, but in case you don't, ENISA is the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. What we do, we try to help Europe to be more secure online. We support and work a lot with member states, with European countries, with companies, organizations as well, trying to prevent, let's say, detect and respond to cyber threats, different cyber threats. We try to stay ahead of any new development, any cyber threats development. We advise let's say, countries and member states on best practices, on how to develop policies. We support them on making technologies safe. We organize events and training. If you guys heard about Cyber Europe, I think that's the most, let's say, enjoyable one and popular. We help, again, to coordinate the responses to major cybersecurity threats. We had quite a few in the recent years. And most important, I would say, we try to raise awareness of any cyber risk, not just to countries, but also to normal people, to citizens, to everyone, to make sure we safely navigate online and we stay safe, especially nowadays. We're like a can we say cyber bodyguard, trying to protect everyone, or at least make people aware.
We can say that. So thank you so much for this introduction. I want to navigate the session. So we have 3 main blocks. The first one is about finding jobs. The second one is about applying for those jobs, where you will provide a few tips and tricks, and we'll have a conversation about good stuff and bad stuff that our friends here attending should actually take into account the 490 people that are currently logged that I can see. So that's the one. And on the third one, this is what some of the audience already know. I'm going to be throwing my curveballs, questions you've never anticipated, but are going to require a spontaneous answer from you guys. That's the moment where the audience has a good look at you and figures out the real DNA of your agencies and the people working in them. So let's start with the easy one, finding jobs. Where do you advertise? How do you advertise? What is required? This is where you tell me about, and our audience about the importance of the mandatory requirements, of the nice to haves. That's it. So I want 5 minutes from each one of you. Introduction, Ricardo.
Sure. Where you can find our jobs? The easiest reply that I think can be applicable to all the EU agencies is on our website, on our career website, for sure. There you can find every single job that we publish. The second answer is clearly on EPSO. We publish an EPSO every time we have a new vacancy. You can find everything there together with also the jobs of our sister agencies / competitors in recruitment, sometimes we can say. But yes, where we can find all the jobs that we publish. A very good tool that I think it's not like a new technology or anything, but it's very good to keep up to date with the job that we publish is the job alerts that we have, for example, on our website, where you can be notified every time a job relevant to you that you select based on the different parameters gets available. That's actually, that's I think the easiest way to stay up to date with that. LinkedIn is also a very good source. We publish our jobs also there. We have our communication teams that constantly share every time we publish a new vacancy, a dedicated post about that. Feel free also, though, please, to comment, to share it with anyone you may think may be interested in this position. That's not only helping us, but also helping the different people that may be interested in this job. This is basically, yes, I think the main area the main places where you can find our job. What do you need if you want to apply to one of our jobs? I think that, again, common to all the EU agencies, we have certain eligibility criteria without which you are not eligible to apply to our vacancies. All the eligibility criteria are listed in our vacancies, but the general one, and I think one of the most important, is that you need to be EU citizens. Sometimes we have a lot of people that ask us, look, I'm not a European citizen, I don't have a EU nationality, can I still apply? Unfortunately, no, this is not something that we decide. This comes from our rules. So this is one of the main, let's say, things needed. Regarding EULISA, it's very difficult. Please.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
What about EU nationality? I get that this is a EU fair, so most of you will have that. Is there any kind of exceptions to associated member countries, or countries like Switzerland, Norway? Maybe there's countries that form part of your statutes. Is there other exceptions worth exploring for our audience here? Ukraine, maybe.
So I see now a question about Ukraine at the moment. It's not among the countries eligible to apply as a candidate. There are certain countries which, even though they are not really part of the completely, let's say, of the EU, they're still we still can accept application. The main one, the first one that comes to my mind, is Iceland. But yes, the European nationality is, let's say, a mandatory field, quite a must-have, without which it's not possible indeed you would not be eligible for the applications. Regarding the specific criterion, let's say, the specific competencies that you may need, this is very difficult and it's very general. We are an IT agency. We hire mainly IT profiles, but our scope and our tasks are so vast that it's very difficult to identify one specific competence that you may need. That's why we list everything that you may need for every specific team, for every specific profile in our vacancy notice. Okay. I think that the vacancy notice should be the starting point of your application. Everything you need to know in order to have a successful application, not only to be able to apply, but to be successful in this, is written there. As a recruiter, I think that my colleagues can confirm, sometimes we find some application that you're like, has this person actually read the vacancy? Did they read it properly? They're missing the core of the vacancy. They're missing what is the main thing that you are looking for, and we write it there. So it may seem a bit simple, a bit oversimplistic, and a bit lazy from my side in a way, but I have to say that if you read our vacancy notice carefully from start to finish, it's quite a big document, I understand, but you need to invest a bit of time in that. You will be for sure successful in the recruitment if you have also the right set of skills. But the starting point is there, I think.
Thank you, Riccardo. Martina, over to you.
Thank you, Fernando. For me, well, it will be very similar as Riccardo has said, because we are in the same family. We are the family of EU agencies. We are following the same rules. But to start, yeah, we do also publish, or you can find our vacancies, of course, on our website. We do also share all our vacancies on the portal of the EU agencies, where you can see everything that was published for any agency. Of course, we publish on EPSO. LinkedIn is our main source as well, and very much we see it's the main source for our candidates. But we also publish at specialized websites, specialized portals, for example, Space Crews, Space Careers, Space Individuals, etc., where we are looking for the niche profile. So that's it. On the eligibility, exactly as Riccardo has said, the same rules we are applying. On the selection criteria, where it makes a difference already, I must only confirm what Riccardo has said. Really, it's the most and the key part that I think we would welcome some, how to say, improvements that the candidates do tailor. They do. I would encourage you that you really read the vacancy notice, what we are looking for. We are not looking for a candidate that is matching 100%. It's not possible. But we are looking for candidates that are willing to learn, that are wanting to learn, that are motivated, and that can adapt their skills to the criteria that we are looking for. On the benefits, I would like, in addition to what Riccardo has said and what is applicable to us, the fact that we are based in different member states. Of course, our agency has different hosting agreements with the member states. So here the benefits, and for example, here I can say, for example, the international schools for the children of our employees, here it may differ a little bit based on the specific local situation. So this is mainly the difference on the benefits. But if not, it's exactly, or it's the same as for any other EU agency.
Thank you. Andrea, are your speakers and microphone going to work?
Yes, it's going to work now.
Hallelujah.
It's similar. Yeah, I wanted to test this. We were the cybersecurity agency, so we had to test, let's see, troubleshoot before, see how we deal with these situations. But similar to my colleagues, yes, the eligibility criteria are the same. You guys have to be a national of the member state, obviously to have fulfilled your rights. So there are some countries where you have the military service still being an obligation. So if that's the case, then you have to have done that. There are some roles where, let's say, we need some security clearance, and that will be another requirement as well. Then the language ones, of course, our working language is English, so that's a requirement for us. The second language could be your mother tongue, or in case of English, it should be a second one as well. I think that would be the main one, but obviously any eligibility, those are the eligibility. Then the, let's say, suitability ones depend on the vacancy. So we would have some essential criteria and desirable one. The essential would revolve around, let's say, the degree. You have to have your degree at the time of applying for the role to already have obtained that. So, and of course, if there are any requirements in terms of experience, year of experience, everything would be listed in the vacancy notice. So the main point, your go-to would be the vacancy notice. And I think, like Ricardo said, please read that. That will be your guide. It will give you all the instruction or advice you necessarily need for applying for the job. In terms of where we advertise, the guys already mentioned it. It's on our website. We try to make it publicly known on EPSO, on LinkedIn as well, to let's say advertise it as much as we can. We also, I don't know how other agencies are operating, but we also can have short-term contracts, let's say on support need. I'm referring now to external, like interims. For that, we do tend to, we have like a link and everything advertised on our website. We use an agency, like a go-to. So that might be another entry point for short-term, let's say, support. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And in terms of SNEs, because I don't know you guys, for SNEs, I think we're, I wouldn't say more flexible. You have the member state being a national of a member state, or then it will be the trade countries. So yeah, it's a bit more the free trade countries like Norway, Switzerland, because Fernando, you asked about this, and Iceland. And yeah, pretty much. So that's for the SNEs. And I think we also have an SNE call for an Ukrainian. So that goes into what other nationality you accept.
Okay, right. ENISA, guys, take notes. You're taking notes, right? ENISA, more than just EU. So that's, and you're going to have hundreds of applications coming through your door, Andrea, now. Let's move to the next question, because I'm interested. The way you've been talking about where you advertise, what, and asking people to read at the vacancy. How long does it take to apply to your vacancy? Would you say that it's an easy process? And more importantly, what do you look for in those agencies, in those applications? What are the killers? Where do applications sink? One of the questions from the previous session we had was how many fail at the eligibility one, and what's the key advice you would have, having read the vacancy, if they don't meet eligibility? Ricardo?
Well, I would say that if you don't meet the eligibility, you should not apply, meaning that the eligibility criterion is indeed the minimum that is not even to be selected by our regulation to be able to actually, for us to be able to look at your CV. If you don't even meet the eligibility, it's not really the case to apply. The second thing I think that's very important is read again. I'm sorry, I will repeat myself, but if a friend of mine would ask me one recommendation to apply to a job, what should I do in order to be successful? Read the vacancy notice from the beginning to the last footnote, because everything is there. There is already, in a way, what we will ask you during the interview. There is what we will find in the written test. There is what we will look into your CV. All the selection criteria against which you will be evaluated are listed in the vacancy notice. Obviously, not the question that we will ask you, but you can at least have an idea of will we investigate about your, I don't know, team coordination or team management abilities, or we will investigate more about your knowledge of IT infrastructure. Everything is written there. So if you read carefully the vacancy, you are halfway, I would say, to be successful in this. Where a lot of applications sink, I think, is when we realize that is fully ChatGPT AI generated. Unfortunately, we have some cases, not so many, but it's very clear when a candidate uses ChatGPT or another AI tool to complete the application in a bit of a lazy way. Yes, our application is a bit long. I completely agree. We ask you to fill in all the information related to your CV, to your education, and also we ask you 3 or 4 questions about how do you meet this criterion. Sometimes we realize that indeed it's a very lazy copy-paste. Sometimes we even, yes, for sure, here is how to reply to this question. So sometimes we have these cases and it's very obvious when it is. I'm not saying that we should not at all use artificial intelligence. I think it's a bit, it would be a bit delusional to say that nobody uses it. It would be completely out of touch with the reality to ask people not to use it. It's a tool that we have, as we have internet, as we have Google, as we have any other tool available for us. The important thing is, I think, that you use these tools in the proper way and in a smart way, not trying to cheat or to be lazy, but trying to fit the best of your competencies with what we are actually looking for. Sometimes we don't see what's behind the application. It's very difficult to understand what actually the person is doing, because it's clearly generated by a language model. I don't know if I'm if I'm covering all the points that you asked, Fernando.
No, I'm listening to you now.
Very good. I don't know also what my colleagues think. What's the opinion of my colleagues on that?
The use of AI, the process, the application. The word lazy and intelligently when using the tool.
Martina, Andrea?
Andrea's laughing.
Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. Well, I can only confirm, I think we are a very aligned group today because we share most of our views. So I can only confirm what Ricardo has said. For going back to your question, Fernando, so how long does it take? And I have also seen some comments. Indeed takes long, but it takes longer than compared to the private business. On the other hand, we are public organizations. We are using citizens' money and we do our processes diligently and in a transparent and objective way. What I want to say that the process is very structured, well established, very well defined. So for example, our vacancies are usually published for 1 month. So the candidates have time to prepare their application. Then we do have a nominated selection board, which is consisting of different people. So we ensure the objectivity as much as possible. We do have different representatives. We do have the expert matters. We do have different representatives, meaning also from the nationality perspective, gender perspective. We do have representative from staff committee, so staff interest, etc. So very diverse group of people. And this diverse group of people, they are looking and scoring each single application. So really, it takes time really to evaluate what the candidates are sending to us, why they want to work with us. Also, Fernando, you have asked what to do in order to make an application successful, to be noticed. Exactly as Ricardo has said, read the vacancy notice. It's there. It is written there what we are looking for. And I would recommend to be really genuine. Do not use the buzzwords. Also, I would recommend do not copy-paste your current job description. This we see also quite often that it's a super long list for a colleague that spent there 5 months with the current employer, etc. Tell us more about your achievements, about the things you are proud of, what you have succeeded in your current or past jobs. It really makes the application very much standing out of the crowd, and it helps also the reviewers to see your potential, etc. On the use of AI, we are not using it in particular for the applications because, well, there is data protection. This is personal data, and we are not able and we do not want to use it for personal data. For us, it's a red line so far. It will probably come. It may be, but here I'm speculating. It should be a corporate tool when the data will stay with our organization. We cannot put it in the ChatGPT or anywhere else. It's really personal data, and for you, you probably know, EU is very careful about that. So we are not using AI for screening the applications. It's really human work, our colleagues or my colleagues' work.
Yes, and if I may add to what you just said, I think it's, I mean, also as I don't think that at this point in time, there are any agency using AI to screening, or to screen applications. I think it's more the candidate side using AI to fill in the application. While you were talking, I had, I think that another good recommendation to candidates that are filling in our applications form, that are applying, is to be very specific, to try to tailor their application against the selection criteria that we list in the vacancy notice. The selection criteria that we list are indeed the selection criteria against which you will be evaluated in this in every single phase of the selection process. Do not give anything for granted. Do not give for granted that because you wrote something, then we have to infer that you also have another experience. No. In order to ensure equal treatment to all the candidates, we can only and exclusively use the information that you provide to us in your CV to evaluate you. If you don't write something there, we cannot just imagine or guess that, oh yes, it seems he doesn't describe much. He has a nice job title. For sure, he has also this experience. No, unfortunately, it does not work like that. This is something that maybe can work a bit, not even too much, in the private sector. In the public sector, since we have to ensure indeed equal treatment to everyone, we can only evaluate you with the information that you put in your CV. At the same time, please do not write a 37-page CV, because then it's too much. You have to find a sort of trade-off where you put enough and specific informations in your application form in order for the recruiter, for the panel, to be able to understand what is the added value that you can bring to the organization. What are your expertise? What is your experience? What are the achievements and that you have, that you were able to obtain, and that could be useful for the organization, for the agency, should you be hired. So give concrete examples, concrete and very specific examples, and if they fit some of the selection criteria, that's indeed ideal for us and for the entire panel that is assessing your application.
As I listen to Ricardo.
Yeah. Ricardo wanted to cover everything. I'm like, what's left now? But yes, pretty much what my colleague said, it's relevant for us as well. So the way we do our shortlisting, it's purely based on whatever you put in the application. So we can't make assumptions. Exactly like Ricardo said, if you put you've graduated, I don't know, like something cyber, I'm thinking of on my case, a cybersecurity degree. Unless you give example how you match the selection criteria, then we can't make assumption that you're a good, I don't know, defense, a tester, a network. I don't know your skills, your capabilities. Normally we assess, and we have those listed in our vacancy notice. Apart from the, let's say, eligibility criteria, the job requirement, we also have every role scored against some internal competencies, core competencies, 5. They are listed in every vacancy notice. We also indicate what level is required, let's say from foundation or basic to expert level. Please do give attention to that one. Also on the core values we have within the agency. So if you refer to those, it will actually help and give you the insight. I think I've asked my colleagues what's the percentage of, let's say, not passed because, yes, I can see not passed because of the eligibility criteria. 10% of our application, of the application we receive are failed because of the eligibility criteria. So read those in the vacancy notice. If you don't meet them, don't progress. Otherwise, you won't get selected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. This is an interesting one. How many fail at the eligibility criteria for you, Martina and Ricardo? About the same amount?
I think a bit less, to be honest. I'm trying to recall the last selection procedures that I managed, how many we had. I think I would say 5% maximum. I don't think it's 10. I think it's much less than 10%.
What about you, Martina?
We are also close to the 10, well, but it's really a big average. But what is positive for us here that we do receive applications from all over the world. So it's really good to hear that EUSPA is also attractive in India, anywhere, in Asia, in general, in the US, etc. So, yeah.
Okay. You've all got I want to redirect part of the conversation now because I'm seeing some of the questions and I'm kind of running out almost to give you that curveball question that everybody now seems to be waiting, the one you don't expect. You talked about the types of contracts. What about working remotely, hybrid from home? Is this something that your agency has in place? Work-life balance you touched upon with the schools and everything, but can I work from Brussels for you, Ricardo?
Unfortunately, no. And yes, depends. Yes, I think that all the agencies are in the same situation. We are all under the same regulations. It's possible to work remotely from the place of employment up to 60%, depending on the agreement with the managers. For certain positions, however, in EULISA, especially for the one located in Strasbourg, in the CU, where the systems are accessible only on site, working remotely, it's something that is not possible sometimes. People have to be on site for reason of security. We are managing personal data of millions, literally millions of people. We cannot run the risk of having this accessible from outside. So at the moment, it's exclusively on site. Not every position. It really depends on the position. Normally, each of us has the possibility of working from abroad for 10 days per year. I know it's not too much compared to the private sector, but I would say that we offer quite a range of flexibility in other areas. Talking about working hours, we are much more flexible, I would say, than the average company. So yes, you can telework if you want, Fernando. If you want to telework from Brussels, no problem, as long as it's for 10 days a year. Or in exceptional circumstances, actually, even for longer, for up to an additional 20 days, but has to be indeed for exceptional circumstances.
Okay, I would have loved to hear the answer from Martina and Andrea, but I'm going to have to gently point all of you back to the main booth. Exactly, Monica just pointed out, 2 minutes left, exactly. So now here comes the curveball. 3 words defining your experience at your agency, positive or negative. Come on, you're being recorded, so we'll upload it later to your bosses.
Challenging, I would say, exciting, and I don't have a word, but for sure something completely out of your comfort zone.
Okay, Andrea, Martina, Andrea.
Mine, dynamic, exciting. Now this is not a word, but learning curve, like a big, constant learning.
Good. What about you, Martina?
Well, I think my creativity is now blocked because everything was said. I wanted to say also challenging and dynamic. You will never have your to-do list finished, or at least I have never finished my to-do list, and not boring.
Okay, well, those are good words. Those are good words. See, it wasn't that much of a curveball. Could have said the things you really hate, but we kept it at the positive. Guys, can I have a thank you posted here? The guys have been great. It's been a rush. It's the last session of the day. There you are. You're great. You know, we loved having you here. There was how many now? How many of you are here? There's 411. We managed to keep you all here. We hope you're going to be applying to the vacancies of our three panelists. Can you say if you're going to, if you learn something, if you like what you hear, if you're going to be applying? Can I hear some comments here? We'll apply. We'll consider applying. And all the questions that you had, talk to them afterwards. When you leave, you go and you continue your conversation. This was an eye-opener for everybody. My name is Fernando. I've done 6 sessions. It's been an absolute experience today. I love it. I can now take a break and have that whiskey that's been looking at me here in front of the screen for 6 hours now. It's worked. It hasn't crashed. Thank God for that. Thank you, guys. You've been great. I much appreciate you all being here. I know you put the questions, you put the time, you put the effort. Now put the effort in the application, take the advice you're given, and be successful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye.